From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight. I'm Cameron Riddle. We appreciate you downloading our Fox 59 Now Smart TV app on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and now on Samsung. Also, if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss any of the conversations that we have every night at 8 o'clock here on Fox 59 Tonight. On this edition of the show, we're going to go deep with Deja as we take a deep dive into another conversation. We've talked a lot over the past couple of months about teenagers and the youth, and of course we had a summer of shootings and mass shootings and teenage death and all the things. And we've talked to lawmakers, we've talked to community activists, we've talked to violence prevention folks, we've talked to a number of people who in some way, shape, or form are trying to figure out what teenagers, children, families need. And on this edition of the show, we'll introduce you to someone who's also made that their mission to tell that story for people. But before we introduce him, let's bring in Deja Studdard, who's going to lead us off with this edition of The Deep Dive with Deja. Hi, Deja.
Hi, Cam. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've got one of the most prolific community leaders in Indianapolis with us in Central Indiana here with us today to talk about Struggle Made Us, Struggle Made Me, and Struggle University and what it does for the kids and for the youth and for teens. Aaron Green is in the building with us. Aaron Green, how are you doing today?
I'm amazing. Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. So I want you to first tell people what is Struggle Made Me.
Okay, so Struggle Made Me is my life. Struggle Made Me is what kept me motivated through all of the different trials and tribulations I went through. So I turned it into a clothing brand. It started off as just words, then it went into a boot with a toe sticking out. We sold clothes literally everywhere, all over the country. And then it kind of transitioned. I used to put motivational quotes on the clothing just because I wanted to motivate people. And it was for the overcomers. And then once that happened, we transitioned into, community work, and it's been going since then.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit in there about trials and tribulations. What kind of trials and tribulations did you face growing up?
Yeah, so childhood, I had two amazing parents, but we were in impoverished neighborhoods. They were teenagers, and so immediately when I was born, it was already that barrier of having teenage parents trying to figure it out. When I was 5, my dad was sentenced to 20 years in prison, and my mom was doing everything on her own. So we moved so many different places, and it kind of shaped who I've become and how I've been able to adapt in different situations. But once my dad was in prison, I started prison visits. So I had did prison visits my whole life up until I was 16, and he was released. Once he was released from prison at 16, I spent that whole year with him, going different places. It was the first time in my life I felt whole. Then when I was 17, he was murdered by a 17-year-old.
Wow.
And so trauma has been something
So he was out for a year.
He was out for a year, and he was murdered when he was on his way to get me after I got off work. But he had stopped in some apartments across the street from Arlington, and got murdered there by a teenager. And so my life took a really wild swing. Thank God I got a really strong village. And so, that kind of helped me stay level-headed, but I was going crazy for a second after that.
Wow. Sorry to hear that.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, and you have a strong village, and what you do now is work to create a strong village for other people.
Absolutely.
And so you started Struggle University. Tell us more about what that is.
Yeah, so during COVID, COVID was scary. We didn't really know what was going on. It was like a nightmare. It was like a terrible movie. And so I kind of got in my creative bag. I was already working with kids, and I'm kind of knowing like, okay, what this could potentially do to them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, oh, they're not going to go to school. They're going to miss out on education. But I'm like, okay, what about the emotional side? What about the mental side this is going to take a big chunk out of like their normal lives. And so I created Struggle University, which is a mental health mentorship program. And I wanted to teach kids about trauma, essentially, but we do it in a way that is fun, that is educational, but it also creates a safe space for them to talk. And once we created it, once kids started going back to school, we were in schools, and we've been going kind of hard since then.
Yeah.
Aaron, let me ask you a little housekeeping question.
Absolutely.
Slide to your right just
Okay.
a little bit.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay.
And take that mic with you. Perfect.
Gotcha.
Okay. You're good. You're good. Deja?
Yeah. Okay. So tell me more about the Struggle University experience. So
Yeah.
say somebody wants to sign up. What does the program look like? Is it 6 weeks?
Yep. So it's a 6-week program, and it kind of depends on if a school or organization needs more than 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It can go for however long. But when we get there, so we'll collaborate with an organization who has kids who's looking for programming. We'll come in, they'll choose the kids, and then we'll get up to 15 kids. We start off by creating a safe space. And when we create a safe space, we allow the kids to create the rules, create what we listen to, what we eat. And because if the space is safe for me and it's not safe for them, it's not a safe space. And so we make sure we have ground rules. That way they feel comfortable and they know that they're going to be respected when they do start talking and kind of being vulnerable. And then we run the program. In the first 3 weeks, we talk about trauma and different things that we've normalized in our communities that aren't normal. And then the second 3 weeks is healing, coping, and moving forward. So we teach kids how to take care of themselves. And essentially, I created something that I needed when I was coming up. So I didn't know about trauma until I was traumatized. I didn't know about healing until I felt so heavy from my trauma that something had to shake. And so that is where I'm giving them game early so that when these moments come, they have an arsenal of tools they can use to take care of themselves instead of crashing out.
Right. So who gets selected? I know you said there was about 15 kids. So how do they go through the selection process?
The schools normally come up with the selection process. I don't know how they choose. I will say that any and every kid can benefit from the program just by having a safe space and learning how to communicate how they feel. But I'm not sure how schools kind of teach. We just come in.
Yeah.
But if you have some kids that you deem difficult, we would love to have them in the program. And
a lot of people tag you on Facebook.
Absolutely.
You're constantly tagged. And people look to you as kind of the community guy who can come in and solve stuff. So what if their kid doesn't go to one of these schools, but they still want to be a part of the program?
So parents can send me the information. We do community cohorts where I'll pay and have 15 kids come and we'll do it. Those will be happening more often just because we do get tagged so much. But if they reach out, their names will be on the list and the first people we call when we do a community cohort.
Yeah. How much does it cost?
So it's $300 a kid. Yep.
Okay.
And that's the Letterman jacket. That's the food we eat. That's facilitators. That's the curriculum. That's anything that we bring in.
And how long does that program run?
So that's a 6-week program, but parents do not pay anything. Parents will never pay for this program. Normally, organizations have money set aside, or we write grants ourselves to be able to provide the program to schools that don't have the money for it.
Well, that was what I was going to bring up next. While what you're doing for the parents is free for them, but it is not free to host this program.
100%.
How are you, or what donations, or how can people help you to continue this mission?
Any donation will help. I want people to know that when you send a donation, it goes directly to the kids. We don't even play when it comes to money. We spend it on the kids. We make sure the kids are able to get what they need. We have kids that have issues outside the program that they'll call and say, "Hey, Mr. Aaron, I can't eat," or "I need help getting to work." So any donation helps, and it's going to go to somewhere to one of these kids. like if of any grants that you could send us, we will write a grant and make sure. And then starting off, I was doing this all out of pocket, and I'm perfectly fine with doing that too. Just as long as these kids get what they need, I'm gonna be all right.
How many children have been impacted by the program?
We are pushing 800 now.
Wow.
Yeah, we're pushing 800. We have 4 cohorts going on right now, and then we'll be starting once these are over. We'll have 4 more going.
Okay, and what are some of the schools? If somebody decides, you know what, I'm going to go to this school just so I can be attached and a part of this community.
So Lawrence North, Lawrence Central, Cathedral. We are with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We move around a little bit everywhere. We're talking to 3 other high schools now, and then we'll be going into Pike this year too.
Okay, so tell me about the children. Tell me about some of the success stories that you've seen produced from your program.
I love these kids, man. I think that people got to know, like, this is really, like, this is a passion, but it's a gap filler for me. Like, I always tell people, when my dad died, there was a hole in my heart until I found this work, and then this work has been something that's been there for me. These kids come in raw, like they've been traumatized. They've been treated bad. Some of them, they haven't had a fair chance to be a kid. A lot of them had to grow up really early, depending on what they went through. And so when you see a kid come back or text us and say, man, you'll be proud of me. I could have crashed out the other day, but I thought about what you told me. Or I have, as many people have tagged me, I have thousands of messages from kids saying thank you, or what you told me worked. What you said was the truth. I use what we learned in the program. I have kids, because what I do is I reach back out to the kids that have graduated from the program. If I have like a paid opportunity for them to speak, always reach back and give them opportunities, and they'll come and tell people, like, the program changed my life. And then you look at, the schools will tell you, so the administration will say, oh, these kids are starting to communicate better. Their grades are going up. They're feeling better. We've had parents thank us for the program just because now their kid is able to voice how they feel. So their relationship is kind of being, merging back together. So those are the wins. Those are the successes in the program. And it keeps evolving. We're still at the ground level of the program, and I want it to be as great as it can be.
Well, maybe it's because you had a great weekend and you're recharged. But right now, it feels like you have the energy to keep taking this on. And I say that because I run across a lot of people who are running nonprofits, and people don't understand how draining and how difficult these things can be, from the financial part. You're looking for donations, but then there's also, as these people are asking you for help, you are getting into their life and finding out where they came from, and it's hard not to take that on. So it's an emotional pull. It's just draining. I mean, your job is to give.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the time that you've been here, you haven't said anything that you get is this. And I'm also a firm believer that people who make this their life's work should be getting paid for it.
Absolutely.
Because you got bills to pay as well.
Yeah.
But how does this work for you? And even just in the time that we've been here, out of everything you had been through by the time you were 17,
right?
A lot of people at that point were like, I ain't got nothing else to give.
Yeah.
Right.
How?
Honestly, I don't know. I tell people, sacrifice is one of those things that's how people are rewarded. And I live by that, as that, like, I take a lot of sacrifices for the greater good. I know where I came from. I know what I needed. And I know that there has to be somebody that's willing to go above and beyond to make this a better place, because we got so many different barriers in front of us that we don't even control. And I'm just grateful that I have a wife, I have kids, I have a family that understands that this is my mission. This is what I was put here to do. I'm going to die doing this. And so obviously money, but I was born, my dad was a real hustler. My mama was a hustler. So learning how money flows, I study it. You know what I'm saying? We're learning where the money comes from. Everybody gets paid to do something, right? And so I always looked at things like, okay, I'm helping people, but the people I'm working for, when I was working for people, make money. Where's the
Mhm.
money come from?
Mhm.
And so that's where, I started the clothing brand. Like I understood that, okay, if I can get clothes and I can sell clothes, we can make money, we can keep
Mhm.
it rolling.
Mhm.
And even then, I gave away half of the clothes
Mhm.
because there were kids that needed clothes. I buy
Mhm.
shoes every week for kids in
Mhm.
foster care.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I'm blessed, man, and I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Even though I don't have direction sometimes, I'm
Mhm.
impulsive. I'm like, all right, I'm about to help this kid. I don't care.
Did you learn so that understanding? Because even my mom, she wanted to have like a she was like, I want to have like a van and I'm gonna just take people to their appointments and grocery stores and stuff, and I want to do it for free. I was like, no, you won't.
No, don't do that.
I was like, no,
Right, don't do
that van is not free.
Right.
The gas for said van is not
Right.
free. Like I get the giving heart, but
Mhm.
that's not how this works.
Right.
How did you learn that so early that okay, there has to be money? I mean, from your parents that they were hustlers, like you understood. I mean, honestly, money makes the world go round.
For sure. I think there, and then going to cathedral is watching. Okay, these kids have a lot of parents have a lot
Okay.
of money. Okay, what do you do? What do you do?
Okay.
Then I worked for a nonprofit.
Okay.
Once I worked for a nonprofit, I kind of learned how grants work.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, so then you're able to do this, this, and this, right? And then I learned about contracts. So when you have a contract, you get paid a certain amount to pay people. So I'm like, okay, so all of this can flow.
Mhm.
That has been my idea, is finding a cash flow
Mhm.
to support what we want to do for these kids. And
Mhm.
so now we're there,
Mhm.
right? We're able to do the program, but we're actually able to do stuff outside the program. So if there's a kid who, has everything going for themselves, but they live just in a tough situation.
Mhm.
They're working, they're trying to provide. Now we can go out and be like, oh, we about to go buy them a car, because they deserve the opportunity to work, provide, do whatever they can do, and they're amazing kids.
Mhm.
That's what I always wanted to do, is just be able to be like, all right, here. Now that transportation barrier isn't there. Now you can make some real money
Mhm.
going to work, doing what you need to do. And then, we just found a way to just studying, man. Like, information is free.
Mhm.
And so when you really want to learn something and learn how money flows, you can figure out where the money is. And hard work, the heart is already there. We're there, that we in this work for that. You got to figure out how the money flow, because if you're not okay, how can you ever make sure that other people are?
I'm glad that you figured out that part, because I just hear so many people who don't understand
Right.
that this is how this works. Hey, Deja, by the way, I gotta tell you, you have one strand of random hair that's going like it's falling right in the front. It was almost symmetrical, so I thought you did it on purpose. But so Aaron, let me ask you about the dark side of this work.
Absolutely.
Social work, one, you didn't get in it to be rich,
Right.
Because you don't make money in social work.
Right.
With that said, you're taking on a lot. I mean, when you're waiting, so we talk about gun violence prevention and the programs and all these things, and what they always hint at was the root causes and where they come from, what's going on at home, and what they don't have. They're trying to make up for that portion in violence prevention.
Right.
But all the other things, you are the other things.
Yeah.
And you get to see what happens at home and what they come from and what they don't have in their house, or who lives in the house. And
right.
What is that part like? Because I just hear, you wouldn't believe what is in some people's homes.
So stepping back and seeing it from a professional point of view, but my life I've seen it throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew what the problems were, because I lived it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now in this professional setting, I'm like, oh, I've seen that. Oh, I know what that is. Oh, I remember this. Didn't know I have something like this. So I'm able to piece together puzzles from my life and help these families. But you would be amazed. And everything that people talk about stems from poverty, right? It stems from, okay, these people are held down for so long. This has become a norm. But the norm can look really crazy to you. We talk about violence, especially in youth. We're talking about kids trying to survive. So I always tell adults in rooms because they don't understand it. If you have 2 dogs and 1 piece of steak, and only 1 dog can eat, they're gonna fight to the death for that piece of steak because that's all they have. So if one of these kids gets something taken from them, maybe from another kid, then the first thought that kid is gonna have is, I gotta do something. Guns are so easily accessible that if I don't have a gun in these communities, I'm fooled, right? So yeah, my first impulse is anger, then it's use this gun. I'm the in between, so I know you got that gun, and I'm not gonna tell you that to not have your gun because I know what you're dealing with. That's not my goal is to help you think different so you don't use that gun. And maybe you call me and I give you whatever was taken for. I do that a lot. I'm the in between for a lot, so I might get a call at 2:00 in the morning. Hey, AG, I'm about to snap. Let's talk about it. Let's talk through it. Why? What's going on? Oh, we only talking about $75. So you gonna go kill somebody for $75? And then once I start to talk to him, he's like, man, it's the principle. Well, the principle is I got $75 for you right now. Stay at home. And then I'm going to show you a way to make more than $75. So that's not the barrier for you to risk your life. I've done that a lot. And so, you know, the front lines are scary. What people don't know is like, there's times I leave the house, there's no guarantee I'm coming back. People don't realize that the kids that I work with, I've lost 20 to gun violence in the last 6 years. These are kids that I'm picking up from home after they done been in shootouts. And I'm taking them to a safe space and we talking and we helping them decompress and those different things. So there's no guarantee that nobody's going to pull up while I'm pulling up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, but I also understand too that that kid is somebody that deserves a chance. And I'm the person that can give them the chance by just listening and help guide them through life. That's the sacrifice we take. And now I'm helping people figure out, how do you really help people, right? Because people always think like, oh, yeah, we give all these resources, but if I'm traumatized and you give me a resource, I'm probably going to fumble it because my mind not right. It don't matter what type of job you give me. If I can't mentally take care of myself in hard moments, then it's going to spew into what I'm doing.
Well, and it's just like you mentioned, you tell them, I'm going to give you $75. You don't just give them $75. It's a conversation.
Absolutely.
After.
Right. And then I know, okay, well, that's what that 75 is for. And most people are like, oh, they're going to take advantage. They really don't. That is the hardest thing for them because I already give. So they don't have to take advantage of me because I would give them that anyway. They just know that, AJ, you know, I don't really normally ask for no money because you always doing stuff, but can you help me here? Absolutely, no question. You know what I mean? So that's the part. It's their relationship. That's the biggest thing of any of this is relationship building. You know, they say our community used to be like a family. Well, then we got away from relationships and we started only being able to focus on what's going on in our household because we all broke. So I can't worry about everybody else because I got to take care of here. Back then we was all broke, but I had a little bit of here that I could give a little more here, and here. You know what I mean? And things just changed. And so we just building community again. We rebuilding what community could look like in 2025.
How do you keep your mental up? Because you're taking all...
This is a lot to take on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't do well with it. I'll be honest with y'all. It's hard because when I go out of town for vacations, and I go out of town a lot. The problem is while I'm out of town, I have anxiety because I don't know what's going on in the city. I got kids that really rely on my phone calls. So I remember we were in Puerto Rico having a great time. And my wife was like, you're on the phone with one. I'm in the middle of the ocean swimming. I got the little waterproof thing, and I'm on the phone with a kid just showing them like, well, this is what life could look like. You know what I mean? And so I do different things. I do weekly things at this point to like take care of myself, but I know I'm gonna have to take a sabbatical soon and just, take a week or two and just take care of me. But my home is what brings me back to life. My wife and my kids is where I get home and it's like being rejuvenated every day. So I lean on them a lot. I lean on family. I laugh a lot. I joke a lot. So I try to keep myself together as much as possible, but it's hard when your work is trauma. Like your work is pain.
And
your work is death.
Stop.
And it doesn't stop.
All night,
It's every day. It's every day. That's why I even watching the news sometimes, it's like, man. Or seeing the Citizens app. It's like, oh, let me call one of these kids and make sure it's not them because it's over there. There's certain places around the city that I've lost people in that I have to go to every day. Even reliving that, sometimes I have to take a break. You know what I mean? So I do the best I can, but I know I need to do better.
What about you talk about what you need to do, what you need to do, what you need to do? What about Indianapolis is a pretty big place.
Yeah.
What about if somebody is like, you know what, I see what Aaron's doing. I see him on the ground floor helping these kids. How can I help them too? Can they volunteer? Can they be a part of this in some capacity?
Absolutely. So I tell people this. Everybody can't go in these communities and step.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm looking for, but I'm looking for it. If you have the capacity to do anything, do it. Reach out to me and let me know, okay, I got this or I got this. I will point you in the right direction, but we need people to come outside if they want things to get better. And like I said, it doesn't have to be you dealing directly with the youth because everybody don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But you do have everybody has something they can offer to make this place better. And that's all I'm asking you to do is just do a little bit more to help. If your kids got friends, invite them into your home and be that extra parent. I remember that kept me, I got so many friends who their mama is my mama and my mama is their mama. That saved my life. I need people to get back to that. Them is just the kids that know they're not. Them is kids that need you. Especially if you know their situation and you know that they can come spend a night, they're your kid's friend, and that spend a night can save their life. Let them kids spend a night. Or reach out to me. Hey, I got some kids coming over. I promise you we'll figure out a way to get some food over there so they can have a kickback at your house in a safe space. But we need people to just do more. That's all I'm asking. I want to raise my kids in a safe place, and I want people to raise their kids in a safe place. But we can't rely on anybody else to make this place safer but us. And that's just that's fine. If we want it to be a better place, we gotta rely on us.
Yeah. And it's hard because
For
I think
sure.
that sometimes people, like you said, will see it like this isn't my kid.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't my problem.
Right.
And sometimes there's only so much that you can do
100%.
because unfortunately sometimes their own parents are not on their side.
Right.
So what do you do in an instance like that when it seems as if you're fighting up against the people who should love them the most?
That happens often. But I make sure that I involve them. Even if they not the most involved. Like, hey, look, I got an opportunity for you. I might find a job for mom if she's struggling or dad is struggling. I try to make sure that they know that I'm not just a resource to the kids. I'm a resource to them too. I just work with the kids primarily, but I do want the whole family structure to be better. I don't want just the kid to be all right because I know if mom and dad is on board and everybody is on the same page, the success rate for this kid goes to the ceiling. And that's what matters to me. So people got to understand too. People who have been traumatized or have been treated bad are going to present barriers. It's a fact. Yeah, it's no way around it. We have to be able to fight through those barriers by being consistent.
So a kid's listening to this right now.
Yeah.
What can they do? What is a resource, something that they can do to take with them? Like something that a way that they can heal from the trauma. Is there anything that you could give a kid that they could take away?
So if therapy isn't a resource that's like in front of you that you can get to, find your safe person. Your safe person normally looks like that person that you call when you're really about to crash out. That person is sacred. That's the person that you need on your side when you go through rough moments. What I also tell kids is, what do you do when, like, if life feels bad, what do you eat? What do you watch? What do you listen to? Understand that sometimes music can consume you and keep you in that space, but turn on some music that got some good vibes. If you go, when I was coming up, getting a Big Mac and a Coke was what I went to when I was going through it the worst. Not realizing that was only adding to how I felt bad. So get some fruit. You know what I mean? Just do something different, but be intentional. Yeah. Be intentional on doing something that makes you feel better and find something that maybe doesn't cost money that makes you feel better so you can get right to it. Oh, I know that if I close my eyes for 10 seconds and breathe a little bit, I can navigate this. That's you coping. Everybody has coping mechanisms. It's just about what adds to what you're going through or what takes from it in a positive way.
It's interesting because you talked about music. I was sad one day and I was driving and I was like, I'm gonna turn on some sad music to really crank up my sadness.
100%.
Here's some Rod Wave,
right. And but that's me too.
But my playlist, I was driving and I just couldn't get to my playlist in time. And then next thing you know, it was like Happy from Despicable Me. And all of a sudden I started to feel a little bit better. And then I was like, I don't even want to play this sad music anymore because I don't want to be in that space. So
100%.
sometimes finding your thing, for me, it's comedy.
Right.
Just it helps me laugh. It makes me feel better.
Yep.
And so what's that thing for you?
I think comedy too. So, social media, it's a lot of like highlight tape, a lot of like put this stuff in your face to make you feel a certain type of way. I'm real firm on going to a Drewski page and laughing, or going to Mojo Brooks and listening to a skit or listening to a stand-up. Also, I'm super motivated by life. So like, I go look at like vacation spots. I go look at yachts. I go look at things that and I take myself away from my current situation. And that's, I tell kids that you got to dream outside of your circumstances sometimes. So, I get on the VR headset and go on top of a mountain and just chill. You know what I'm saying? And those are things, but you got to be super intentional. You got to be intentional on what you can do. And just finding what works for you.
And finding what works for you. And one thing that they can find that could work for them is a Letterman jacket. Yep. Tell me more about the Letterman jacket and about how a kid gets this. Because I personally, I want one.
I got you. So
I got to go through the program.
Yeah, you got to go through the program. So Struggle University, after they graduate from the program, they get a Letterman jacket. And the Letterman jacket is special because it's a motivational Letterman jacket. It has different quotes on there. On the inside, I write a letter to each person in the each cohort. And it basically just tells them how proud I am of them for going on this journey. Is it an individual letter? So it's for all. So it's just, so every cohort has their own letter. Yeah. So, it's telling them how proud I am of them. It has a list of coping skills they can use, and it has my phone number. And that way, if they ever feel like they're in a position where they might have the jacket on and they're going through a really hard time, they'll have things they can read to make them feel good. If it gets too bad, they can open up their jacket and call me. And they can hold on to that forever. You know what I mean? I don't even care. If they outgrow the jacket, they're able to bring the jacket back to me and I'll give them a new one. And I just want them to be able to keep it and know that they're gonna be all right in those moments and utilize what they learn.
Okay. And how many kids have graduated?
Well, so we close to 800. After this next 6 weeks, we'll be at 800.
And what do you do, or how are you looking to expand beyond just this 800?
So we'll be in Gary next month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're moving around. I've had different conversations with different schools in Baltimore. We've talked to some schools in Houston. So we're looking to expand. We're just trying to figure out what it looks like. So there might be a trainer at a school. But we are willing to expand. We'll fly wherever to take the program there, and we're just excited to have the opportunity to grow something that helps.
Now you said fly. Where are you flying to?
When I fly, I want to go to Africa. I want to take the program to Africa if we can. I will go anywhere in the world if they have kids that need a safe space and need to learn, and that's anywhere. So we'll go wherever.
Okay. Aaron, what are the kids telling you they need?
Somebody to listen. They need somebody to listen, and then oftentimes when a kid is talking, they're not looking for you to tell them what to do. They're really just trying to get it off. And then you help navigate them through those situations by asking questions. And then once they come up with their own answer to their own problem, you've empowered them because it didn't come from you. So like, a aha moment. They need jobs. 14, 15, and 16 people are not hiring like they say they are. That's that weird age. It's like, we say we're hiring 14, 15, 16, but we're really not.
And you also got to be mature enough.
Right. That part too. And so those, and they looking for opportunities. Like I try to, being in the streets, especially when I'm working with kids who are in the streets, you got to find a way for them to make some money that doesn't entice them to go back because they trying to survive. So we got to figure out ways to help them make some money that's in a learning setting too.
Mm-hmm.
So trades, skills, any kind of thing that they can make money ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
We're teaching that. So yeah, you come with a safe space and some money, you in the right direction.
Aaron, I've worked with kids for a while, and I remember years ago I said something about that kid is bad. And this bus driver was like, "There's no such thing as a bad kid," and I was like, "No, I beg to differ. There are such things as bad kids, and if you don't correct it, they will grow up to be bad adults. So how about we recognize that now? Just because you are a bad kid does not mean you cannot change."
Right.
And so I think we're also getting to this thing where we don't want to call anybody bad and all this. Like, no. There is
This
such
happened
thing.
to me the other day. I
Really?
called a kid bad, and their mom got mad at me. But I was like, that was bad. And so, how do you deal with like what is, I think it's more so classified as gentle parenting, and where is the line between gentle parenting and between
I don't know. That's a hard one because I think we put a name on it. So now it's because like I'm one of them people like they'll be like, "Oh, you're not supposed to be your kid's friend." I'm like, no, I believe you should be your kid's friend. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the situations that I was in coming up, I called my mom first, and she knew what was going on, and she's like, "Okay, this, and this, right?" When you are a friend to somebody, that's normally a safe person, right? When you call somebody a friend, that's somebody you could talk to, you could tell. I think when you're dealing with teenagers, there's so many different influences in the world that you absolutely better be somewhat of a friend to your kid, or else you're not gonna know what's going on. My son's in college; he's a freshman in college. He calls me weekly, like, "Hey man, this is what's going on," and then we navigate from there. But he's talking to me as if I'm a friend. But he knows that if I need to come down as a parent, he respects that boundary too. And so, I think you gotta. All kids are different, and I think you got to figure out your parenting style per kid. Because my 3 and 4-year-old are totally different than my 9 and my 10-year-old. They turn up. My 3 and 4-year-old a little different, right? But they COVID babies, so I say all them babies different, right? So that I don't know, man. You just got to figure out. But I think a lot of times too, parents are trying to parent the way they were parented, and that's not going to work.
Do you think? Because I do believe that kids, teenagers, they are looking for some order and some direction of
absolutely
where do I go. How often do you have to, or do they ask you like, what should I do? Like, do they know? I guess how often do they know what they're looking for?
It's kind of 50-50. So they'll call and be like, "I know I'm not supposed to," or "I know it's not supposed to go this way. How's it supposed to go, Mr. Aaron or AG?" Then I'll kind of guide them there, but then they're like, "I thought about that." So a little bit about it anyway. It's just on me to bring it out, and then for me to help you trust your gut. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't trust our gut, and then we go against it. We're like, "Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have did it that way." So it's kind of 50-50 if I had to say. Yeah.
Well, there's so much solutions to adversity.
Yeah.
And you have them. Tell me more about what that is and what that program looks like.
So I've been doing social work, human services for 12 years. And like I told you, I like to see, okay, how are owners of agencies, how do they make money? And helping people is the foundation. So my goal getting in this was I want to own a social work agency. And I had put I was like, all right, by 40, I'm gonna have my own agency. I know it. This year I was awarded my own agency through the Department of Child Services. And I called it Solutions to Adversity. And appreciate you.
Sound effect there.
No, thank you.
Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 35. I just turned 35 on the 10th.
5 years early.
Right. So I'm excited to be able to merge my leadership and my purpose and passion into one and teach people how to do what I do. And I feel like I have a obligation to the community to make it better through this program, through this this agency, and quality service is what people are gonna get. It's hard work, and so they're gonna get people who have a passion for it and love what they do. And I'm just excited to be able to provide that.
First, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it, appreciate you.
A birthday month.
Yeah,
And this, I think this whole time, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought you've been saying hard work. Are you saying hard
I'm
work?
saying hard work. Yeah,
Hard
hard work.
work.
Yeah,
So
hard work.
what does that mean? What does that
That
look
means
like?
when you do it, you get a different type of feel. So I wake
Okay.
up every day and go pick up kids and mentor them and sit with them and help them navigate systems. This doesn't feel like work to me. This is my life.
Yeah.
This is the fuel to it. This is seeing these kids get what they need, and the success stories is what drives it. Hard work is driven normally by money.
Mm-hmm.
Hard work is driven by feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be you didn't have it, but you're providing it, so your
Yeah.
heart is being fulfilled in that manner. And that's what we're doing.
So you talk about
Good observation, Dave.
You talk about success stories for kids. What does a success story like? What does that mean? What does that look like for a kid to be successful, if you will?
So in the past 12 years, I've had a 99% success rate with the families and youth that I serve, who are in the foster care system. Those successes look like I have 3 of them currently right now in college. So they went from foster care to college. And anybody that knows about systems and where you come from matters. For them to get to college, going through everything that they went through is amazing. And their success rate is going to be amazing because they've already experienced some of their worst moments. And that's what I tell people. I've been traumatized my whole life, so business is easy. Right? There's nothing that I could walk into a business meeting and they can say to me that's going to make me feel worse than me seeing my dad pass away or something. You know what I mean? And so that's the same way these kids are resilient already. So that means that everything that's been thrown at them, they can navigate because they've navigated some awful moments as a kid. And that's how I try to teach them, is just navigating these experiences. But success looks like helping them reach their goals. So if graduating high school and getting into a trade program is their goal and they do it, that's a success story. If them going to college, graduating college, becoming great fathers, great productive citizens, entrepreneurs, whatever life looks like is a success story. I got one of my favorite kids in the world moved to Texas. He's been working and staying in his own apartment for the last 3 years. That's a success story, especially from what his life looked like. You know what I mean? But he took a leap and went far away. But he understood that going forward was going to help him grow. And he did it. And so, anytime a kid calls me and is like, "Hey man, I listen to you," or "Thank you for talking to me," or picking up that phone before you crash out and calling me, that's success. So all of those count.
Okay, for sure. So you're looking to expand this program.
Absolutely.
I know you talked about Gary, and are you looking to go to, because a lot of the schools you mentioned are kind of like east side, north side type of schools. And so tell me more about you going to the west side.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the west side. We're gonna go to Washington and talk to the admin there. We're gonna go to Pike. We're gonna be in Davis. I'm going back home to Christmas Attic soon.
Hey.
So just any of the schools, we just making our way around.
So you said we. Who else is involved?
Yeah, so my wife Erica, Q, his name Quinn Collins, and then Tamara. We all kind of a team right now who moving around and programming at schools, and we looking to add more people to the team.
Okay.
If you're a principal or after school program or somebody watching, what can you offer for them and how should they reach out to you?
So we have programming to help for the kids that may give you the most difficult times. Programming normally can help, and we have the stats to show that our program is working. So if you do have the capacity for us to be in your schools, reach out. info@strugglemademe.co. And yeah, let's start the conversation.
When I see your program, I do tend to think of boys. Is there something available for girls?
Oh,
too?
absolutely. No, we program
Okay.
for girls just as much as
Okay.
we program for boys. It
Okay.
just started off with boys, but
Yeah.
my wife and Tim, Erica and Tim do the girls. Those
Yeah.
sessions actually are really my favorite. There's been sessions where I might just sit in to observe, and the girls will ask me questions about being a dad, being a man, just different things that they want to know. And so those conversations, those cohorts with the girls are different than the boys. The boys normally it takes them a little time to be vulnerable. The girls dive in right what they feeling, so it get deep. So yeah, absolutely, we provide. I've even done a mother and son cohort with big brothers and big sisters. So yeah, we program for everybody.
Now, when you say mother and son, it's the mom, like multiple mothers and multiple sons.
Yeah, so it's the mom and their son, and there were 7 families.
Okay, that's very cool.
And that so our curriculum can be kind of switched out and stuff, but that was mainly about trauma, understanding mom basically explaining her trauma to her son so that he could kind of understand where she was coming from on certain things. And then their communication, we were real heavy on communication, and at the end of that cohort you'd have been amazed because these are parents that kids weren't really talking to them about how they were feeling. We gave them notepads so that like if they had an issue with each other, rather than arguing, they'll write their grievance down and then they'll talk about it when they're in a better space.
Now, I will say this: how does a parent get to that space of letting their kid know, sometimes a teen, sometimes a younger child, that I'm struggling too.
Right.
That I'm in this too. And sometimes we can get down on parents. Earlier I was like, I talked about parents, but sometimes, and you get to be an adult, that it's hard. It's hard to make
It's
it
hard. Yeah.
day to day. And you do need
Right.
a village, and you do need a community, and you do need sometimes people to rely on and help you out a little bit. So are there any things, that a parent who's struggling, is there anything that they can do immediately that would help them? Or
I think being real with your kids is something that we can do more of. I think when you hide your struggles, sometimes kids think that everything's good, but really they need to know how really hard life can be. And it's not that you're telling them that so that they can feel some type of way, but you're giving them a step forward in life by understanding, like, hey, it get real. Like, you know what I'm saying? And kids want to know, like, they want to know, okay, how does this, why is this like this? And so you're teaching them how to be young adults at the same time. I think parents will hold that stuff in and then it'll come out in parenting.
Right.
And you don't want to bleed on your kids. That's one thing you don't want to do. So find a safe space, and it don't even have to be when y'all like mad. It just be y'all might be out to eat having a good time and just start explaining like, hey, this is how this bill was short, so then I had to pay a late fee. You know what I mean? And just, allowing your kids a chance to feel like they're part of the household. I think without making them feel like an adult. Don't do that. But make them feel like, okay, I see mom working hard. Let me help do this a little more because I know she's doing this over here. I know we don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So
and kids can do things that don't have to be, just cleaning up.
100%.
Can make a difference. It can make somebody feel like the space is more open and they can breathe a little bit better. So there's something that everyone can do.
Absolutely.
Tell me, because you did mention this a little bit, Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yeah.
What do they do, and how are they a part of Struggle Baby?
So, Big Brothers Big Sisters has a waiting list of 1,500 kids.
Wow.
So we do programming for the waiting list until they can be matched with a big.
Wow.
They'll have cohorts of kids come in and get some programming, which I think is amazing because other places could be like, all right, well, we don't have the capacity for them, so y'all just gonna have to wait. But instead of doing that, they're very, very intentional on making sure that those kids are getting served also. So we do very consistent cohorts there, and we love it. It's a great partnership.
Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Central Indiana has a 1,500
waiting list.
Waiting list.
Yeah, they're waiting on because they need more people.
I've had the director on.
Yeah. Eric.
I can't remember. It was a lady. I can't remember her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I know that they're running a program right now to work to get more
bigs.
bigs
Yep, for
and
sure.
more people in the community. And so when people are like, well, I don't know what to do and I can't do anything, that is one thing that you
That's
can
definitely
do.
one thing that there's 1,500. They need some help.
And how can people help you? How can people help Solutions to Adversity? How can people help Struggle Made Me? How can people help Struggle University? What can people do and where can they go to send that help?
Struggle University, just resources, anything that you can provide that kids may need. I know one thing that people definitely can do. On September 20th, there is a Power to True Generations conference. It is at the Madam Walker Legacy Center. It is from 1 to 4. We took a group of teenage boys who are system impacted to Memphis and to Baltimore to learn about what they're doing to do for violence prevention. We had them for a whole year. They got paid each month to be in the program. They want to tell their story, and these stories will blow your mind. These are some of the most amazing kids, but I need people to come and learn about what's really going on first, and then you see where you can help at. But this is we collaborated with them, and we've been working with them for a year, and these are some of the most amazing kids. All of them graduated from Tech. There's a few, actually, not all of them, but most of them graduated from Tech, and there's some about to graduate. So come out and support. And when there are youth things going on, just come support it. I don't care if you don't have no kids, just pull up and learn about what's going on. But that's how you support anything that all of it. Solutions to Adversity. If you are a home-based caseworker, therapist, you do visitation, reach out. We are hiring. So that's always a way to get to us.
Okay. So we're about to wrap up here. Okay. But tell me, just in this last bit, what's the vision for Struggle University, for Struggle Made Me, for Struggle Made Us, for Solutions to Adversity, the man who does so many things for our community? What is the vision moving forward?
So since I'm 5 years ahead of my goals, I had to change them. So for Struggle University, I want a real university that is focused on helping the mental in every state if I can. I'm not gonna put a cap on it. Struggle Made Me clothing. I want that to be everywhere because it inspires people and it's dope. Solutions to Adversity. I want to have a social work agency in every city, especially where we can help our people, and do it at a high level and get great results, because I want people to be able to have the opportunity to live and really live and not just exist or not just trying to make it. I want people to have the resources to be able to do what they need to do to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Aaron.
Absolutely.
I love everything that you do.
Appreciate you.
You are one of few people who are on the ground floor every day, going into communities, right there on the front line, helping children, helping kids, helping teens who need it the most, who are in the most dire help. Thank you for your commitment to the community. And I hope that, I know you take care of so many people, but I hope you take some time to take care of yourself, that you enjoy rest and reformation, that you can just have a vacation and some time where you don't have to think about the weight of the world, because it truly can consume you, especially these days. So take some time for some self-care. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, Aaron, no, thank you for all your hard work. And like I said, we know it's draining. I've talked to a lot of people in here, and you can see it on them. Look, the light is shining. You got a little gray coming in. I see you. It's coming right there. It's coming in, man. Look, the work that you do is not easy, and absolutely. It's wisdom and it's stress. So
he's not lying. He's telling the truth.
I'm trying to tell you.
For sure.
But thank you for what you do, because it's a tough job and somebody's got to do it. And we need good people to do it, who have the right motivations to want to help these kids, because there's a lot of kids out there that it's so much easier just to say, good luck to you, bro.
Right, absolutely.
I got nothing for you. Yeah. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Deja, another good show.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
You're gonna you got some good stories for us on FOX59.com this week?
Absolutely. We're gonna put this story up on FOX59.com. We'll have an article. We'll put it out on Facebook and Twitter and Blue Sky and or X.
Are we using Blue Sky?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't done a Blue Sky. I'm also just tired of social media altogether, but
it's how we.
It's
meet
draining.
People, well, yeah, this past week for sure.
Yeah. That's why I haven't posted anything. All right. That's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 Tonight. We thank Deja. We thank Aaron Green for coming on. We'll be back here on another night at 8 o'clock to continue to talk about what's happening in the world, everywhere from your house to the White House. And I'll talk to you on Sunday mornings on my radio show, Open Lines, on 106.7 WTLC and Hot 100.9. And Deja, we'll see you on Fox59.com. Have a good night.